Welcome to the Neuropreneur Rising podcast. If you're a coach or practitioner with ADHD or a busy brain that just doesn't ever seem to work with the norm, then you're in the right place. I'm your host, Polly Pollock, and in these episodes, I'm going to be teaching you how to get visible, create reputation online, and sell your signature offer predictably without social media. I'll teach you everything I've learned over the last decade about building a capacity-conscious, life-first, profitable business that's driven by human connection rather than trendy tactics that burn you out, all in a way that works hand in hand with your natural strengths. All right, let's dive in. Hello and welcome back. So, I got a good one for you today. We are going into why your email list might seem like it's kind of this dead ass, like weird liminal space where no one seems to be buying, and you followed advice and it's just like not working, and you're just kind of feeling a little bit like I don't get how this works for people. This is gonna be a game-changing episode for you, if I do say so myself. I'm going to be giving you 3 ways that you can really start to change that. You can start to warm up your community. Oh my god, my hay fever today, I'm sorry. It's every day at the moment in the summer. You can really start to warm up your email community so that they become loyal clients rather than just these people kind of floating on your email list. So when I talk to new people about their email list, and I kind of mention like, okay, so whatever we're talking about, do you have an email list? And they're kind of just, there's always this reaction of just like, yeah, but it's kind of just like, I don't like it. I want to use my email list. Like, I wish it was, this place where it felt, like it was a real community, and I felt like my emails were being read because I love to write and, I love to express, and the long form kind of, people want to do it, but it's this kind of disappointing, like, yeah, it's there, but like I don't even know what it's doing. And I think a lot of people have kind of been told, like, this is how your funnel is going to go, like with your email list. Like, you're going to create a great freebie, you're going to give it to them, you're going to like promote your email list on social media, you're going to attract people, and then your freebie is going to be so good that they magically buy your high ticket 2k plus offer. And you're sat there like, what? This hasn't happened. So chances are, this is a very, very big load of BS that people will just, see your freebie, get it, and then see your offer and just be that, like, if your content is that magnetic, then like people will just buy your offer for like 3k as soon as they found your freebie. And it's like, yeah, no, that doesn't happen. Don't get me wrong, a rare occasion, like it might on a very, very rare occasion, or someone has like maybe binged your podcast or like heard you speak or something like that, then they get your freebie, and then that, but it's never like that. There's a backstory to that, like they've heard you somewhere, or they've already been warmed up, and so it just might have not been on, in the funnel, so to speak. But without being warmed up in some way, it's not going to happen. And so, yeah, like I said, the internet kind of makes it sound like, yeah, it's like freebie, then they go up to your high ticket offer, or, there's this other side, which is like, yeah, they need a freebie, and then you need to do like this low ticket offer and that low ticket offer and this kind of mid ticket offer, and then they go to your high ticket offer. Like, there's kind of 2 sides, and they're both, I'm not going to go into the latter for this episode, but the reality of, like I said, it doesn't tend to work like that. Someone downloading something for free and then immediately spending thousands is not it's a pipe dream, right? And we can't build our businesses around pipe dreams, rarity, or that kind of luck. We're not playing the fucking lottery. We want to build businesses around predictable strategies. So there's a few, when we look at kind of like why people aren't buying when they come on your email list, or maybe even you've done, like I said, the latter, which is, you've got a freebie and then a low ticket offer, or maybe it's a bit more hands off, whatever it is, why people don't buy when it's kind of either way it could be a few kind of reasons, honestly, but the main ones, it's either trust. So people don't trust you enough yet, and that's nothing personal. It's just that people haven't been in your world long enough, and they haven't had the right interactions with you yet. They don't trust you enough yet. That's normally, the top one, right? And again, nothing personal, but just put yourself in their position. Two is connection. So they don't actually understand how your signature offer solves the problem that made them download the freebie or the offer in the first place. That will actually kind of bridge that gap to get them where they need to be. Again, that kind of links to trust, because even when they do have that kind of knowledge of your signature offer, they need to know, they need to have the trust that you're the person that's going to be able to actually steward them to get to that point. Third is belief. So they don't know if it will work for them specifically, or they're wondering if they're the special exception of like, why, maybe this won't work for me. Or it's self-belief, like maybe they fear that they're not going to be able to get themselves there. Or fourth, it might be awareness. So they might not even know your signature offer exists, and you can say like, yeah, Paul, but like I put it in the freebie, like I put a note at the end of it, and people aren't clicking on it. Like people aren't paying attention to it. And that's honestly like, I get it's frustrating, but mentioning it once is not going to cut the mustard. It's not enough. People need to see it way more times than that. So that's my kind of top 4 reasons of what tends to go wrong in that kind of space of needing to bridge that gap. Not necessarily go wrong, but these are things that we need to create, that trust, connection, belief, and awareness. We need to create that through warming people up, if that makes sense. And so without all of that, it makes a lot of sense that people are maybe going to just kind of drop off, or they're going to maybe forget, or then just not going to explore it further, because we haven't created that. We cannot expect our new community members, our new audience members, to do all of that heavy lifting themselves. We're there as the business owner, as the coach, to kind of bring them through that buyer journey, so to speak. So why warming up your audience really matters, obviously for those reasons that I've just mentioned, but that's the thing, is that gap needs to be filled between that freebie and signature offer. Otherwise people won't be able to be informed and kind of resourced enough to actually move into a big decision. And selling a coaching offer, like someone investing in any kind of coaching offer, whether it's like 1k, 2k, 5k, that's a big leap. And obviously that depends on the person, but for most people it's a big leap. And that's what like I said, we need to do, is fill that gap. And so, right, when we're talking about warming up, the kind of common advice of warming people up will normally go into, okay, we'll just create more content. And a lot of people try to warm people up with content alone. And in 2026, where we are, living in the information age, where, there is no shortage of information. I know I say this all the time, and I probably sound like a really boring bitch, but it's true. I don't know why I said a boring bitch. I feel like I just sounded like Donald Trump. But I know I say it again and again, but there's a reason why. We're not in any shortage of information right now. More information is not what people need alone. And also, obviously, people's trust is, as consumers, our trust is wavering. We're a lot more picky with our buying decisions, and especially in the coaching industry, you all know what I mean. It's a bit of a shitstorm, like, in certain parts of, the coaching industry, and people's trust is not as high as it used to be. And so we need to put in more work, and that's how it should be, honestly. I have no issues with that. Before I became, a coach as I am today, I was burned badly by a coach, and so I'm not against that. I'm happy, to I guess share this information, because I don't think it's a bad thing. I really don't. Again, putting yourself in the shoes of the consumer, of your potential clients. And so we're dealing with lower trust and, a lot of information that's out there. And so that kind of begs the question of, okay, how do we warm people up? And in all honesty, warming people up as a coach online these days, like I said, is not through information alone. it's nuance. Like, this is really what warms people up now. People need to experience how you think, they need to experience how you coach, they need to see how you'd help them exactly. And content alone doesn't always create that. It it leaves no room for the things that actually warms people up. I think easiest, honestly, if I'm being so honest, like, this is the easiest and quicker way to warm people up and bring them into becoming clients, is actually relying on content alone is the slowest way. And this is the thing, it leaves no room for the things that actually are, more sustainable and, easier most of the time, which is conversations, questions, human connection, people getting a taste of your work before they actually invest, which I don't know why the fuck this has become such a weird thing over the last few years of like, oh no, don't do sales calls, like, or like don't offer free like connection calls, or like don't offer free value where someone can actually talk to you. Like, bitch, be so for like, why do we think we're all like the queen? And oh my god, I'm so sorry. I just, this is how my ADHD brain works. I don't know if anybody has seen this video. It's old as fuck, but if you guys haven't seen this, it's just going to be just a load of shit that you that you're going to be like, what the hell is she talking about? But there's this little kid on, I think it was like Super Nanny or like Wife Swap or something. It was like back in the day. It was like, it must have been like 15 years ago, maybe more. And this little kid's like, the wife swap lady who's like come into this house. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna throw away all the junk food. And this kid's like, oh no, you're not throwing away my bacon. Bacon is good for me. I love it. Anyway, and he says about this woman, he's like, I can't remember what he says. It's like, she's walking around like she's the queen and we're the sorry people. Oh, just type in bacon is good for me on YouTube and just, I swear to God, it will be the best thing you do today. Anyway, that's the kind of thing that popped into my head when I said just a minute ago about like, I don't know why everyone thinks that they're the queen and like your, clients are the sorry people. That's what was in my head. So let's just be human, it's basically my thing that I was trying to get to, the more we can just actually give people the time of day of like, come and talk to me, come and like connect with me, that's the thing that's going to really warm people up. So I'm going to give you 3 ways that you can start warming people up on your email list now, that you can start doing, that you can start kind of weaving into your emails. Because I know it feels like sometimes like, okay, well, if it's email, I can't even DM people, like people can't see my face, like, like social media. So what am I doing other than sending emails and sending like content and copy? So I'm going to be walking you through that right now. And obviously, just before we get into this, everything that I'm mentioning depends on, when you actually send this out to your audience, good messaging, good positioning, good marketing, making sure that these things are actually going to be landing in the right way. That is, like, even if it's like a free workshop where you're going to, oh damn, I just gave away the first one. Well, Jesus Christ. Even if it's something that you're going to be offering your email list for free, it needs to be really, really marketed in a way that's going to land for people. Otherwise, people aren't going to know it's going to be worth their time. So yeah, good positioning, good marketing, and good messaging obviously comes into this, which is, what I teach in NFSA. NFSA, just to go into it quickly, is the Neuro-Friendly Sales Accelerator. It's my 4-month marketing mentorship where we're going to build that visibility, community, repeatable sales flow, literally from end to end, without relying on social media. So this episode really, and this topic is one tiny piece of that ecosystem, but within that, we focus really heavily on the positioning, the messaging, and the marketing. So obviously, I just want to say all of this is kind of dependent on whether it lands with your audience. So 3 ways to warm people up through email. Like I said, I just gave it away. Email exclusive workshops. just really ruined that for you guys. So this is a really good one. So one of my favorite things to do, you can run workshops, whatever you want to call them, workshops, trainings, webinars, solely for your email list. I know that a lot of people are like, oh, but no, I just hate webinars. Like, I don't want to do it, Polly. And I get that. That's probably because you've done this whole, and again, there's nothing wrong with this. I think that this works great a lot of times. You've probably approached webinars or workshops in like a funnel based approach. And what I mean by that is that you've approached it from a, like, the webinar is the top of funnel, and then you bring people into the webinar who are like strangers, and it's like the webinar itself is kind of like the first step that attracts people in, and then it's like a whole funnel process from there. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm actually saying simplify it, and don't do a huge promotion for it. Just literally run it. So it's not going to take you all this effort to, like, approach it from this big project angle. You can just do workshops solely for your email list, exclusively for your email list, without this whole month-long promotion shit. Just like, hey, I'm running this workshop, here's what we're going to be covering, and you can promote it to your email list a few times. Maybe you do it over the course of like 1 or 2 weeks. Super snappy. And it's really for your email list who are already warming up to you. And you're actually going to probably see a lot of signups from that if you can position that the right way. The benefits of this is, like, and if you approach this in the way that we do in NFSA, for example, your email list is always going to be growing with the visibility opportunities that you're focusing on outside of that. So you don't need to be focusing on this as an email list growth thing. This is something that's a warm up and conversion tool for your existing email list, if that makes sense. You don't need to promote on social media. You don't need a massive like launch strategy for one webinar. Like, it's really a warm-up kind of event where you can teach, you can answer questions, you can connect. Then if it makes sense, you can have a post-workshop invitation or a sequence, whatever it is that you want, into your signature offer. Maybe you can add like a bonus, an incentive, a next step. You can treat it more of like a mini launch or a promo, but it's first a relationship building event where you can warm people up and people can see you face to face and get to know you, and it goes in way more than just your content alone. So that's one. Two, like I said, this has been kind of weirdly, I don't know why, just like uncool now, but they work like really, really well when it comes to building relationships. I don't know why people don't do this stuff anymore. But free value calls. So it's essentially, it's not a discovery call. It's a limited, you naturally have limited capacity, so I would always say don't break yourself doing these. So make sure you do offer them like as a limited thing. But these are just like free audits or strategy calls or whatever kind of makes sense for your niche. Not discovery calls where someone feels like they're going to be, I guess, enticed onto the call for you to just say like, here's my offer. Like, I cannot stress this enough, if you're going to offer these free strategy or audit calls or whatever it is for you, please make sure that the person leaves with more value than not, and make sure you're not ever framing this as a thing where they're going to get free value and then you rope them on the call and then it goes straight into a sales call. Again, you would be really surprised at the advice that says to do this. Do not do this. This will break trust. The whole point of why we're doing this is to build trust, and this is just going to break it straight away. These calls maybe should be 15 to 30 minutes long. You can figure out kind of what you're going to be working out with them on the call and what they're going to be walking away with. You can give them something really useful and let them experience you, let them experience how you coach, how you teach, how you guide, and they get to know you. It builds trust. They experience your coaching. They walk away with something valuable. And then if it feels like a fit, you can ask if they'd like the details. If it feels, you'll know on the call if it's like, this is not a fit, this is just really weird, or like they don't seem like they're in a place to want to hear about any next steps. You can ask them at the end of a call if it feels like a fit, if they'd like more details about, the work that you do and how you believe you can help them, and say like, based on what we've sort of spoken about today, I think that I could share some details about my work that could help you if you're interested. And then you can mention the details on the call if they say, yeah, I want to hear more about it, or you can send them, or both, and then you obviously can start the follow-up process with that. But don't make the whole call like this sales call in disguise. It's just so sleazy. So yeah, like I said, this isn't a sales call. It's, you can treat those differently. The discovery calls where someone actually is straight up interested in hearing about your work, you can have that as a separate thing. It's really a relationship building tool. One conversation and one call where someone can really experience you as the coach, shortcuts weeks, months, plus of someone kind of wondering, is this person for me? Like, do I trust them? Are they going to be able to help me? Do I resonate with their copy, their emails, their content? And so I love these. I honestly don't think I'll ever not want to do this, because I'm such a, like, this isn't just something that I would say to do in the beginning. You'll need to change it a little bit as you grow, because like I said, your capacity. But I just personally I enjoy doing them. Like, I'm such a connection. I need that oxytocin. Like, I need the connection with my community. I genuinely love it. And so, if this is you and you're like, I am the type of person that thrives off of connection, and when I talk to someone, that's where it goes really well for me, versus I'm maybe not so good at just sending out copy. I would really recommend utilizing this, and we can get good at the copy at the same time. You'll need to, but I'd really think about offering these more one-on-one kind of approaches as well. And then thirdly, there's a more hands-off approach that you can take in this, with this whole, add this in, let people hear you. So this is less hands-on. You don't have to do anything live for this, but you can send people in your emails podcast episodes if you have your own podcast, or guest podcast interviews. Like I said, a lot of what we focus on in the Neurofriendly Sales Accelerator as the visibility strategy is podcast guesting. And so once you have a bank of those, you can then send it out to your email list. That builds authority anyway, that people know, like, you're getting featured on podcasts. You're not just some random bitch on the internet, like, who's kind of sending nice emails. That builds trust and authority anyway, but then they can also hear how you teach. It has that same effect, and they can listen to you. People really do need to hear your voice. They need to experience how you think. If you guest on podcasts, or you have your own podcast, whatever it is, or maybe, if video is more your thing, those kind of things are really, really incredible warm-up tools. And, especially if you guest on podcast, you'll have a talk, ideally, that's already centered around, like, a signature topic. So that will be resonating with your audience anyway. So yeah, that is my top 3 kind of things that I would suggest you can go away and do this week, literally, or next week, in the next few weeks, whatever it is. I don't know what you got going on. That will help you turn that email list into more of a thriving community than this kind of dead thing that's just sitting there a little bit. So yeah, just a final point that I want to leave you with. Like I said, I can't hammer this home enough. It's 2026. People really do not need more information to read alone. They've got AI for that, whether you like it or not, whether I like it or not. What they really need is your voice, your perspective, your nuance, your perspectives that you're able to put across, and shift, and conversation and connection. That really, really is what warms people up and what builds trust. So yeah. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. And like I said, an FSA is currently open for enrollment. We have a few spaces open right now before I'm at capacity. And that's a 4-month program. So over the 4 months together, I will help you build that sustainable visibility that doesn't require or rely on social media, that thriving email community where we'll put all of this into practice, and repeatable sales coming into your signature coaching offer, all in a way that is ADHD friendly and built around your brain and the way that you work and the way that you can really show up and enjoy the marketing you're doing, because it's in line with your natural strengths and how you work best, essentially. So although we have a flow, we have a rhythm with what I teach you, and the strategies that I teach you, every student system looks different because I help you adapt everything to fit you. And so it's very based around the person. So links in the description. You can go ahead and book a discovery call. We'll see if it's a fit. If it is, amazing. If it isn't, I will just point you towards the right resources and see if I can point you in the best direction of something maybe that is a better fit. Or we can just, leave it at that if it's not a fit, and we can continue to have a great, I guess, ongoing relationship, and you can still get the most out of the content. But if it is a fit, we can look at how we can move you forward with that, and I can answer any questions. And yeah, it's a super low pressure, no obligation kind of environment that I like to create, so that you can really just see if it is the perfect place for you. And if it is, I'd love to have you as a student. So go ahead and check that out, and you can book your call in the show notes. All right, I will see you next week. Peace. Alright guys, that is a wrap for today, and if you loved this episode, I would be so grateful if you could leave a review and maybe even share it with a business buddy who you think would really get something from it too. It really does make a huge difference. The more reviews and shares, etc., that this podcast gets, the more it gets pushed out to other creative, brilliant, neurospicy business owners who really need to hear this stuff. And honestly, I just want more people like you to know that success does not have to look the way that we've been told it does. So the more you help me get this into the right hands, the better. And if you're ready to take things a step further and get some real support, just head to the description and you'll find the link to the Neuro-Friendly Sales Accelerator, which is my 4-month signature marketing coaching program for neurodivergent entrepreneurs. From there, you'll be able to book a free strategy call with me. We'll have a chat to see where you are and see if it's the right fit, and we will go from there. All right, see you in the next one.